NewsNation correspondent Laura Ingle has been following the record release, and she joins us now. What are we learning about what these people are saying about how they were instructed to help him do his dirty deeds?
Right. We're getting a lot of information, and you're right. You know, these hundreds of pages of documents have really pulled back the curtain on the inner workings of the Epstein human trafficking empire, from those who worked for him and ran his household to the celebrities that paid him a visit, some who seemed to not know what they were walking into when they accepted their invitations. And so when we think about who we are learning about in these documents, we're talking about head of household, we're talking about drivers and butlers and people that actually, you know, helped run this business. And we have more of that for you now.
Famed magician David Copperfield, one of the more surprising names contained in the document release, was mentioned in a 2016 deposition of Johanna Schoberg, an alleged Epstein victim. She testified the illusionist came to Epstein's house for dinner, where she dined with him, and he entertained the group with magic tricks. She also testified he allegedly started asking questions when he noticed how young the girls at the house were, and according to Schoberg, asked if she was aware that girls were getting paid to find other girls. Copperfield, like all those named in the documents, is not accused of any wrongdoing. Former President Bill Clinton, named at least 29 times in the documents released, was spotted in a small town in Mexico Wednesday when the documents dropped. A Clinton spokesperson directed us to their statement from 2019, which said that the former president has had no contact with Epstein for now 20 years and was never accused of any wrongdoing. We are learning more about some of the interworkings of Epstein's household as it pertained to his young visitors, which included what some have described as X-rated encounters with Epstein. Alfredo Rodriguez, the former house manager at Epstein's Palm Beach mansion, was described as a, quote, human ATM machine. He was told to carry cash at all times, that he used to pay girls for, quote, whatever happened with Epstein at his Palm Beach mansion. Epstein told him to take the girls shopping and pay for whatever they wanted. Price did not matter. And Johanna Schoberg, who testified about Copperfield, also said she was 20 years old when Maxwell recruited her as an assistant, but she was immediately converted into a massage therapist and asked to recruit other girls. She got $200 for each recruit, more if sexual acts were involved. And Juan Alisi, an employee at Epstein's Palm Beach mansion, who testified that his job included cleaning sex toys at the mansion and that the girls were getting younger, 16 to 17 years old at the most.
And we reached out to Maxwell's attorney, and they had no comment for us, adding that they are focusing on her appeal, and that is where her focus is right now.
Yeah, well, there's a lot in there that makes her look really, really bad. Okay. How many pages last night? Very late?
934.
900. How many today?
About 19 in the first one, and there's more to come. I mean, we remember when we started reporting on this, it was that they were going to come out on a rolling basis. We've heard that there's up to possibly 5 batches. Is every batch going to be 900 pages? That's the question and what we're ready for.
All right. You'll be up late reading through it all.
Right.
Okay, Laura, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.